Hi, I'm Levannia Lildar, and this is Level Up. Let's talk about how a little bit of scripting can go a long way.
What would you consider real scripting?
Real scripting, I think, is when you take something that Jump does and you need to extend it further.
Like piece together pieces of script?
Sometimes
like that?
piecing together or making it do something that you couldn't otherwise do.
Okay.
I usually think of this as the question where you're doing something and you say to yourself, there's got to be an easier way.
Oh, yeah.
And oftentimes, doing a little bit of scripting is a way to do that.
Yeah.
What can I tell you about today?
So I guess I'm interested in how you started scripting.
Yeah, it depends what you mean by scripting.
Okay.
And I have some examples to show you.
Well, what do you mean by scripting?
What does anyone mean by scripting? I think scripting can be multiple levels.
Sure.
So some people think of scripting as full application development.
All right.
So using the language to build
Like
something.
add-ins type.
Yeah, like
okay.
add-ins, building something new that doesn't exist yet in the software.
Okay.
Some people think of scripting as retrospectively recording steps that you've taken in the software.
Yes.
So like recording a script and being able to like play back steps.
So to automate a procedure.
Automate a procedure, yeah. So for some people, that's really the only use of scripting they have is to play back a series of steps they've taken. But also scripting in Jump is even just recording a single analysis or saving a script from a platform to the data table.
Well, my understanding is now Jump actually makes it very easy for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me show you the final product first.
Okay.
And this is, I haven't done much work to clean up the workflow. This is basically what we're going to build together.
Oh,
And so we're going to build it together. But let me show you what happens. I'm going to hit play.
All right.
And what this does is it goes out to the internet, pulls down some seismic data, and builds us a map.
So these are earthquakes.
These are earthquakes
in the U.S.
Yep. And this workflow went through and cleaned up the data, creates the graph for us, even does some stuff with the axes.
Yeah.
And it just allows us to, restart, hit play, and it just runs it for us.
The same thing over and over.
And what's kind of neat is this is actually going out and pulling in real data each time.
Okay.
And so,
so as this earthquake data gets updated, we'll see more points.
It's going to see more points.
Yeah.
And normally, if you were having to do this all yourself in scripting, it might take a little work. You might have to know enough about coding to string things together, how to do all that. But instead, we're just going to build it interactively together.
All right.
And I'll show you how. So let me close that first. Let me show you where the data are coming from, and then we'll talk about how to get it into Jump. And so I just have a URL here. It's just quake.utah.edu.
Okay.
And these are all the recent earthquakes in the area. I think it goes back maybe a month and a half. So these data, we can actually get access to just the back-end data that supports this graph here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a nice little trick. If you're in a browser, you can just inspect the web page, pop over to the network, reload, and almost always it's fetching from some location with a JSON.
Okay.
And so if I show you what this looks like, if I double click it, and I'll click pretty print, this is just a JSON file that underlies the actual data.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to do to start is I'm just going to save this to my desktop.
Yeah.
Save it, and I'll just minimize my browser. Now, Jump has no problem opening JSON data. I'll hit open, go to my desktop, and let's open it with preview. And so that's the preview of that import.
So this is how it's going to knit, or what's that word? Clean it?
Yeah, to import it and guess about the actual structure.
Yeah.
Before I hit OK, though, I'm going to start that workflow. Actually, let me cancel and start the workflow so I can start recording before I do any actions in Jump.
Okay, so this will actually include the importing piece.
Exactly.
Right.
So a really good practice is just always record your workflows as you're going along. We can always add steps later, but it's just easier if you start the recording. So I'll go to File Open. Let's point it at that JSON file.
Nice.
I'll tell it it's a tall file and just hit OK. And notice the first step says import JSON, and that's actually pulling the file in. Now this file's in pretty good shape. I'm going to just clean up a little more. So I'm going to delete some columns.
Yeah.
Notice that Jump is already capturing those. This column's empty. The bearing we don't really care about. Distance. We have depth. We have magnitude. We have a latitude and longitude column. I'm going to change some of their properties so it looks a little bit nicer. And Workflow Builder will just capture that in the background. And so latitude, I'll say we're going to use the latitude with the DMM format and longitude with DMM.
All right.
And so now it looks a little nicely
so now we have it in the degrees.
Yep. Yeah. Origin time is going to be a little tricky. You're going to see something really quickly that happens here. I'm going to say year, month, day.
Okay.
And you'll see that it thinks these happened in 1959.
All right.
And that's because of the epoch or the epoch that the date time starts with varies by type of server.
Yes.
Windows servers started in 1901, Unix time starts later. So the trick is we just have to add 66 years to this date. And so
Are we going to add a formula?
We're just going to add a formula.
Right.
And so I'm going to say add, and we'll say date time in years 66. And so these are enough steps where I wouldn't want to do this every single time I want to look at these data.
I mean, like, I imagine I can see myself doing this and like maybe forgetting one time to add the 66 years.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so the nice thing is, as a workflow, it's just going to be something that's saved and we can repeat for ourselves. And so there we go. Those are actually the correct days and dates.
2025.
We have latitude and longitude. We have magnitude. We have everything we need to make the graph. And so I'll just take those latitude and longitudes, drop them in, take off the smoother, right-click graph, make a background map. We'll do street map service. So this is going to go out and pull just a map box background for us. I'll do the muted version, so it's a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
And then we'll take magnitude, we'll color by the magnitude, we'll size by the magnitude. So the bigger earthquakes are going to be bigger.
Sized, yeah.
Yep. And then we'll just
darker.
And darker. And we'll clean up the legend a little bit. So that legend has some, extra stuff we don't really need. So I'll turn off both of those. Because that's essentially the graph that I started with at the beginning. I'll close that, stop the workflow. And then the thing I always recommend, start over, hit play, and just see if it works. And that's basically it, save for one thing. Remember, we downloaded that file to the desktop.
We did, and you pulled it from the internet.
And I pulled it from the internet
original.
to do that. Yeah. So let's take a look at the script here. This script points to my desktop or the location of that file. But we know where that file lives. It just lives on this website at webproducts.quake.utah.
Is it as simple as just copying that in?
It's simple as copying that, and I'm going to replace it here. And then Jump will handle pulling that every single time. Again, let's hit restart.
How do you save? Oh.
You don't have to save anything. You just hit restart, hit play, and that actually came from the live data.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so now we have a workflow. You do want to save your workflow.
I am impressed.
And that was, we were basically building a script, right? So we'll call this earthquake. And that's something that we can run over and over whenever we want to get the most recent data and check out, the
see what's going on
locations.
In Utah.
So it's the kind of thing where if it's not your process, I can see why you're not doing it as a matter of practice. Honestly, it's so easy that it's something you can just do whenever you're doing analysis.
I appreciate really that someone who probably doesn't know a lot about scripting can do this.
Exactly. Because you notice except for that first step where we went in and changed some text, you actually never saw any of the JSL.
We never looked at it.
You may not even have known that JSL was the thing that lets you do the scripting in the first place, which is kind of the magic of it. If something can work without showing you any of the code, why bother?
Why bother? Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say, there is a lot of value to learning some scripting.
I agree. I think it's really powerful that you a little bit goes a long way with JSL, right?
Absolutely.
Like you don't need to know all of the skills in order to be successful.
Yeah, because Jump is going to write most of the script for you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really even matter if you know how to write a distribution call or a graph builder script, because Jump's the best at writing its own.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about scripting has different levels from saving from the graph builder, for example, to saving with a workflow. What are some of the largest or biggest use cases that you see?
Yeah, I think scripting, even a little bit of dabbling with it, is going to lead to efficiency for an organization. And like you said, a little goes a long way. So what's kind of cool about Jump, it is an application that does data analysis, but it's also an environment to build data applications, especially visual ones. So workflows, more so than scripts, I think expose the pieces of a bigger, process. Whereas scripts tend to run, in the background and without showing the user anything. So teaching workflows are a great way to just help the users get on board.
To jump into JSL.
Exactly, and to onboard people through complicated process. We find with a lot of especially with Python or R users, they'll also work in Jump, and they'll often return to Python or R because they're familiar with it. But one thing we've noticed is the ones who start playing around with something like Workflow Builder, they end up loving it because it's so much faster and so much easier.
Yeah.
Because instead of having to do the gluing, instead of having to do all the piecemeal creation,
chase the semicolon.
Yeah, it is just something that's automatic for them.
Okay.
And so I think there's, in a funny way, there's maybe even a little resistance because they spent so much time learning this very hard process that it can almost be offensive that it's so easy to go to just doing it in Jump, and that it becomes a benefit because if they're an advanced scripter in Python or even in JSL, and they support a lot of users at a company, oftentimes they would have to go to someone's office and watch them do some process and take notes in order to help them automate it.
Yes.
And we've heard from some companies, they just tell the users wherever they are in the world, just start recording a workflow, do what you want done, send it to me, and I'll make it production. They'll take the workflow, they'll export the script.
The production-ready script.
They'll create the production-ready one. And so it's almost like a tool to let them be more effective.
So I guess if you're a new user, what advice do you have?
Actually, I already saved a URL here on community.jump.com. There's actually a whole introduction to the jump scripting language.
All right.
This is
Which is
JSL, and one of our education folks put this together. And this is great. And the best advice I would have is don't do what I did when I was learning JSL, which was just to hack it together and not look up anything.
I'm pretty sure that's what I did.
Yeah, I think that's what we all do.
Yeah.
One thing we notice is people who use Jump tend to be experts in something.
Yes.
And it's not usually the coding or the statistics. Like, they're using Jump because their job has demanded it.
Yeah.
But they tend to be very expert in something. And people who are very smart tend to want to figure out things on their own.
Yeah.
So I get it. I'm the one who's throwing away the IKEA manual. I want to figure it out on my own. With scripting, I think it's worth just having an expert show you how to do it.
Okay, at least for the start.
At least for the start.
Yeah.
There's lots you can figure out on your own. It's a very intuitive language in some ways. So learning a little of the scripting language, just take an online course. They're free. They're quick. There's also Mastering Jump webinars on Workflow Builder, and even advanced Workflow Builder use. Recording is just the first thing it does. There's lots more it's capable of. So just watching some of the resources would probably be the best way to get started.
Best way to get started. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Jules.
It was
lovely.